Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Talking Finance with myself, Dion from Finance and Coffee, and I've got the awesome Peter James from Mortgage Ezy with me today. How are you?
You're too kind, Dion. I'm very well, thank you.
Mate, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in and visit you here in your head office on the Gold Coast.
It's great to have you here. I wish it was a bit warmer for you. We keep promising sunny, hot days. It is winter after all.
It is, but I'd also assume that every, even winter on the Gold Coast is still warmer than it is in Melbourne, right?
Well, it's a lot colder than normal. Normally, if you came here, you'd be in a short sleeve shirt. Being from Melbourne, we actually joke here on the Gold Coast when we walk in July on the beach, 6 a.m. in the morning, and the people in the water, we know they're from Melbourne.
Or they're from New Zealand. So just for the audience, if you don't know, and you probably wouldn't be able to pick it up, but I actually grew up in New Zealand.
Say 6.
I bought a vowel a long time ago. So what happened was my first job in Australia was actually in a NAB call centre. All right, so and I got relentlessly teased, and that was from my workmates and the customers.
Well, there's two ways I tell a Kiwi, even if they got a faint accent. I ask them to say 6, sucks, or fish and chips.
Fish and chips. That's why I said I bought a vowel earlier on after about a month of being teased. So that's happened. But if you put me in a room with some Kiwis, probably give me an hour. I'll come back. Next minute. Anyway, we're here to talk about you. So thank you for taking time to have me here.
Of course, absolute pleasure.
Now, tell me how you guys are going, because obviously for the last 2 years, I mean, it's chaotic. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. Chaotic.
I know exactly what you mean. It's been tumultuous. Is the word that I'd say. We've had COVID, and now we've had election, and now the fastest rate rises that we've ever seen in my time, certainly. So, firstly, the great news for us is that we've maintained growth, which compared to our peers is a great achievement. So over the last 7 years, we've actually, including the pandemic years, we've averaged 32% growth year on year. So that growth, we did actually suffer in the year 2000. We came back, but thankfully it was 2% decline only. And we bounced back last year with a record-breaking year, smashing our record, doing almost $1.6 billion of settlements. We grew our loan book by 25% to $4.5 billion. So we're travelling okay. And this year, which, for most people is probably as hard as the pandemic years, this year, with the election, with the rapid rate rises, our settlements are still up on last year. So we're quite comforted by that. What's to come for the second half of the year is anybody's guess. I mean, it really is a battlefield out there.
Yeah, and it's gonna be pretty interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Have you seen your, the type of business coming through? Has purchases fallen off and then refinances having more?
Yeah, definitely purchases have come down. Refinances. So while we're suffering with purchases, as people feel the pain, they're looking for a lender that can give them a better rate. They're looking for a lender that maybe is a bit more flexible and can give them an interest-only facility. We still have no problem with interest-only on owner-occupier loans, for example. They're looking for a lender that maybe is more flexible with cash out because perhaps they don't want to borrow for their business loan or something of that nature. And they may be looking for a lender that won't ask them to cut up their credit card. So all of these things add up to more refinances migrating to us. And the other factor is, and the thing that I'm most proud about, while we had a record-breaking year, and some months we did over 150 million a month, we didn't break under the strain. Now, going forward, we've had new initiatives to increase our service proposition, because obviously as you're writing higher and higher loans, and especially now with employment the way that it's very tight, technology is the saviour. So we're investing heavily in improving that piece, and we can talk about that a bit more later. But what is actually the figure that I'm most proud of about, we've won lots of awards and broken records, is quite simply the external review sites, things like Google, Facebook, Product Review, rate Mortgage Ezy 4.6. Now, that's 4.6 out of 5 compared to the big banks, the big four, 1.5. So to me, it's about what the borrower rates me that I want to be measured by.
Yeah. So it's not just those reviews, though, right? Because I'm looking in this room now, and there's this raft of awards that you guys won. Can you tell us more about that? Because you had a pretty good year. Yeah.
Yeah. Last year was a big year for awards. I think a lot of people still were suffering in the pandemic, and so. Look, where do I begin? We were finalists or winners of more than 8 awards last year. I think 8 or 9 awards. But the ones that stand out that I'm really proud of is we won the Broker Choice Award for 2022 as the best self-managed super fund lender, beating some really big hitters, much bigger lenders than ourselves. We also won the Advisor's Best Credit Policy. And I think that really is an important award for all of us here, because we really pride ourselves on assessing a loan, not using a credit score or running them through the cookie cutter approach, but really taking the time to look at an individual's unique circumstances and having a credit policy that's flexible. And we actually altered our credit policy to cater for those people in COVID, and I think it's a common sense credit approach.
Yeah, I was going to say that because, you know, we get that in the community quite often, and it's like brokers lamenting when is a lender going to actually, you know, take a common sense look at this, right?
Absolutely. It just does not make sense, some of the rejections that I see. And look, there's so much we can do as a mortgage manager, but there's much more we can do because we've got our own program now as a lender.
Yeah. So tell me more about the awards for your SMSF fund, because obviously you beat out quite a few big lenders out of that one. Is it about the fact that they're a bit more complacent, or what's your secret? What do you guys do differently to get that award?
Yeah, so the Self-Managed Super Award, firstly, one of the philosophies of Mortgage Ezy is to fill the gaps that the big banks leave behind. So we did non-resident lending when everybody pulled out of the space. So we've done it for 20 years and still do it today. Yep. We do expat lending, which is very scarce in bank land. We've done low docs since the very beginning and still do them today. We have our very own exclusive light doc, which is kind of in the middle between a full doc and a low doc, and very popular now because a lot of accountants won't sign an accountant's letter. With self-managed super, all the banks have pulled out, each and every one of them, and it's left, you know, obviously Liberty is a big name and a very, very good self-managed super fund loan in the beginning, and then there's probably a handful of big names out there in that space. We've had competitive rates, but more importantly, a more flexible approach to these sort of clients. And, you know, today it accounts for 32% of my volume. So it's a significant volume driver for us.
Yeah. And are you finding that from existing brokers, or you find that newer brokers are trying you guys?
Yeah, it's both, Dion, right? So in the pandemic, some brokers started doing it tough. And so we actually had a program to go out and educate those brokers on self-managed super. A lot of brokers think it's a hard loan. Actually, the truth, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's actually the easiest loan in the world to write, because in full doc loans, it's got very blurry. There's lots of things to consider, such as the expenses and many nuances. Very grey is the lending, and you really don't know, is this a deal or not a deal anymore? In self-managed super, it's absolutely clear-cut. It's either a deal or it's not a deal, simple as that. But some of the things that we added just to spice up that lending is that we'll look at income outside the super fund if they don't service inside the super fund. We'll have no liquidity requirements if the client can give us a valid reason. So we have express refinance. So we don't even need income verification if that client's had a loan elsewhere for 2 years. We rely on the good conduct of that 2 years. So yeah, there's some of the reasons, but I think again, what the most important thing is we access funding lines, 3 funding lines, so we give them choice, and it's all on one application form.
Now, just going on what you just said then, because I picked it up, if they've had good conduct, then they can jump over to you guys. That's phenomenal, because as you've said, some of the lenders who used to play in this space, who now don't, they've essentially got clients in, lack of a better word, shitty rates, and those clients can't move, right?
Shitty rates. I mean, there's clients paying 7 and 8% in self-managed super that we can almost halve their rate.
Yeah. So as long as they've been showing the the fact that their behaviour over a 6 to 12 month period, they haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, so
you guys can have a look
that's express refinance, but we can traditionally service them as well. So for purchases, we go through the servicing model, but our servicing model is very generous as well.
Yeah. I suppose going back to when we first, talked about, the market now being very much a refinance one versus a purchase, right? Are you finding the same thing with the SMSF side as well? Because traditionally the SMSF have been tied to brand new builds, and we hear what the issues are in the industry at the moment.
So the majority of our loans in the previous 2 years were purchases. It was actually a ratio of 85-90% to 10 or 15. So today, the ratio of refinances to purchases is almost 1 for 1. So it's definitely shifting. Without a doubt, purchases across the board have slowed down.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so just moving on now, just in terms of, with regards to the secret of your success, Mortgage Ezy's, I've been around pre-GFC in the third party side. Came GFC, I survived it, I guess, pure luck. And I was working for a bank at the time, so I could have lost my job any day. Yeah. Coming out of the GFC, you look in the room in terms of going to PD days and go, who survived? Not only who are the BDMs that have survived, but who are the funders or those which have survived. Right? So a lot of mortgage managers basically just disappeared, right? You guys didn't, and you guys have just gotten bigger and better. I suppose my question there would be, how did you manage to do it? Was there something that you did differently that other people did? I mean, I guess we've had a conversation before that, I didn't know, but you got a small tech team in Vietnam, which I'm going, what?
We got 15 people, so if that's small, yes, and we've had those 15 people for 12 years. Yeah. I've got a special gift for you. I'm going to pull it out now, right from Vietnam. Let me see if I can find it. So actually, I've got a few things here for you, Dio, only because I love you a long time. Firstly, it's actually tasting pretty good.
Yeah.
This is the Mortgage Ezy bar. So take those home for your kids, and I'm sure you'll eat one as well.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And if you see our banner, it's actually got this. It looks like Willy Wonka bar,
it does,
right?
yeah.
It's got this on our banner, but we actually have the real chocolate.
Yeah.
This one I'll post to you because I know you only got carry-on baggage today.
Yeah,
but this is the Mortgage Ezy pen knife.
Because I play economy, so nothing.
It just shows that your membership dollars are going to a good cause when the principal is flying economy. But this one's my very special gift to you. All the way from Vietnam, the governor of Hanoi gave me this.
Yeah.
And it's, if you've watched National Geographic, it's the coffee that the weasel eats that gets pooped out and then meticulously cleaned bean by bean. And, you know, a cup of this in Europe costs $100, as you probably know. So I've got 4 of them for you. If you love it, come and see me again and let's get some more.
Oh my God. Mate, thank you.
I can't believe I got it through customs, actually. I did a lot of fast talking to get that. I've got a box of it, so enjoy.
Wow. They were so expensive. I've never actually experienced Ezy food before out of coffee.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, you've heard about it?
I have, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, it's just, you know, at $5.50, that's pretty much the top of the line. Where actually, no, $20 was the highest I've ever spent on a coffee, and that was in Paris. But that's another thing altogether. You do silly things when you're in Paris.
Yep.
But this is next level. So
there you go. So when you got to guess, say it's worth $100, but I'm charging you $50.
I might give one away as a competition to someone here in the Fancy Coffee Group.
Sounds great.
So thank you.
So just on our Vietnamese team, we've right from our onset, we've heavily relied on technology. So our operational system is fully proprietary. We were the first to introduce SMS alerts. But we've had that team of 15, and we don't just have a team in Kenya. We have 15 in Kenya, 7 in the Philippines, and 4 in Kenya, believe it or not, all with different skills that are working on DEB, which is our decision engine box. So that's about turning lending on its head, improving our service proposition to brokers, but also giving an online approval, a formal approval, within minutes.
Yeah, that's awesome, because obviously, as you know, one of the things which has come onto the group really is members bemoaning about turnaround time, bemoaning about, you know, credit teams looking at this and then asking for more information and then not reading things correctly, and it's just wasting that. It makes the broker look bad.
It makes the broker look bad, and clients don't understand, especially if, you know, most people only change homes every decade. So when they last did a loan, maybe it was 10 years ago, and the rules were all different, and they can't understand why they're being put through the mill now. And some of the lenders are victims of their own success, and we don't want to fall into that trap. So as you do more volume, that's great, but ultimately they suffer because there's human beings doing all the legwork. So our idea is those blue chip customers will just fly through. Now, we do not expect every loan to pass through debt. We hope to get 50% of loans through that way, and that means we're freed up with our same credit staff to put more attention on the 50% of more grey loans.
That's awesome. And when's that going to be online?
So it's online now, Dion. So our first release actually happened on the 1st of July. Our next release will be before the end of the year. We're hoping for an October, but they've promised me a December without fail. And what that will, the second release that's due in October will be around improving our service to brokers so that we can use artificial intelligence to do a lot of the checks that we manually do now to move those applications without sitting in queues for verification. So the third stage, which I hope in December, will be formal approvals for clients and brokers alike.
That's awesome. Okay, so I suppose not a lot of people use mortgage managers, right? And when they do for the first time, they're going to go, well, what's this and where's this fit and so forth. I think one of the advantages that brokers need to know is that with you guys, it's one application, correct? And then it's your team then would then help the client fit into the boxes where it works best. Is that correct?
Yes, so the first thing is my whole team, executive team, have all been brokers. So we understand the broker probably more than anyone in the industry. And the first thing that we did was design an application form that covered all our funders. So our one application form is all you need. So if, for example, it didn't fit the product that you'd chosen, we have 7 funding lines that are catered for in that one application form. So we can mix and match to get the best outcome. What that means is instead of a yes or a no, we can say, well, not to the product that you nominated, but we can offer you this. So it makes a huge difference. Not only that, unlike most groups that call themselves mortgage managers, we're a true mortgage manager. So we do everything in the process. All of those funders, except the non-conforming funding lines, we have a full DLA. So we sign off those deals if they meet credit policy in-house, up to $2 million.
No, that's fantastic, because it goes back to the whole time decision engine in the game, isn't it? Because then you make the broker look good, customers are very happy with the broker.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also understand that you guys have your own source of funds. So that doesn't get anywhere, it's all in-house. Tell me more about that.
So that's a game changer for us. It's taken many, many years and a lot of money to actually become a lender in our own right. So we have 2 warehouse facilities from 2 of the major domestic banks, and we intend to go to the bond market and raise funds there when we term out. We launched that. We did a soft launch on Australia Day, and we rolled it out to our brokers on our 21st birthday in April.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, so since that time, we've been inundated with inquiry. And today, Source, which is our funding line, already accounts for 15% of our volume.
That's awesome.
Huge result.
The name is Source.
Yeah, Source.
That's great.
Actually, Sam Kekovich, I don't know if you know Sam, the footballer from Melbourne.
He's the Australia Day dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, he rolled it out on Australia Day.
Yeah.
So he was our Lambassador. So
there you go.
Sam the Lamb.
Yeah.
So that's why we did it on Australia Day as a soft launch. So
cheeky.
Yeah,
very good though. Very good.
Very cheeky.
Yeah.
Source is not there to cannibalise our existing business. We're not interested in going from one hand to the other. The banks that we deal with and the non-banks provide a very good service for full doc blue chip customers. What Source does, it complements that existing program. So it does the things that we struggle to get through a bank. And you mentioned before, sometimes you've got a loan, 30% LVR, 20% LVR, and you're banging your head against a brick wall. Why won't these guys do that deal? If it makes sense, we'll do the deal at Source. So the first thing that we've offered with Source is a light doc loan. Now, the Accountants Association have gone out to all their members, several of the Accountants Association, both here in Australia and New Zealand, and said, do not sign a low doc declaration. They've publicly said that. So accountants are pushing back on low doc declarations. A lot of brokers hate the other options of a BAS statement or trading statements. They're like, well, we might as well prove the loan rather than paying 2% higher. Yeah. What light doc works with is 1 year's profit and loss.
Oh, okay.
So as long as they see you can't do it on your Myo computer, but as long as you see an external source and provide the figures to them, and accountants love this because there's no responsibility. The figures are provided by the client. We don't need that profit and loss to be lodged in a tax return. We don't need a notice of assessment. And, it covers those COVID years. So if you had a bad year with COVID, we're looking at last year's figures.
That's fantastic.
And for self-employed, it's an absolute boom.
Yeah.
For employed, we offer light doc as well, with really good policies. So 3 months employment is fine with us. Only 2 years salary credit is all we need. We don't use outside statements. We don't interrogate for expenses. So all of the things that brokers hate and customers are dispensed with. It's common sense lending.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so we add expat loans, a really simple program where we'll lend to permanent residents and Australians working abroad. We have LODOC, which, as I said, LODOC probably will decline in the market, and rates are going up with LODOC much more than the RBA, but we offer that, and we offer self-managed super fund loans because that's our specialty.
That's awesome. Pete, any last words for the audience?
Well, just good luck with riding the wave of interest rates. I know that America had the highest interest rates in 42 years, so we've still got a lot of pain to come. With that, I would just suggest navigate away from fair weather friends. At the end of the day, those brokers that have only used banks are doing themselves and their clients a disservice. We're here for the long run. We've ridden COVID, we've ridden the problems of the GFC, and we'll ride this one out as well. All the best.
Peter, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the
It's
coffee.
lovely to see you, dear, and I hope you enjoy that.
This is so cool, guys. This is so cool.
Well, I know you love coffee, right?
Yeah, absolutely.